Well, we are back with one more TL Talk, and the first one in person. I could not be happier to be surrounded by so many friends and professionals. It's been a while since our last TL Talk. My name is Tina Lira. I am the principal at TL Portfolio. We're a consulting firm with 12 offices and an amazing team of 25 women and soon to be one man through North and South America, offering sales and marketing representation, PR, branding, digital content, and events. Our TL Talks during the pandemic reached an audience of 80,000, motivating professionals to innovate, to rethink, and to keep moving forward. With the support of many of the most brilliant minds in travel, I think most of you were part of it, thank you so much, we created a movement of positivity and hope. Thank you to all the participants and those that joined the conversation virtually. Your tremendous support made my pandemic challenges a little lighter, and I could not be more grateful for the amazing energy we shared. Today, we're back with an absolutely stunning panel and in the most amazing Madison Avenue triplex suite at the Lotte New York Palace, with 5 industry leaders that will help us better understand the affluent U.S. consumer and discuss the opportunities ahead. Stacy Fischer, CEO of Fischer Travel with more than 3 decades of experience in luxury travel. She has been instrumental in transforming our industry. She has dedicated her career to rethinking Fischer Travel that was founded by her father, Bill Fischer, who we all adore. He's fabulous. With the mantra of making the impossible possible, she has set the bar for travel worldwide. Stacy currently sits on the board of the Belmont, Four Seasons, Marriott International, Park Hyatt, Preferred Hotels, Rosewood. She's active in numerous charities and, in my opinion, a force to be reckoned with. Stacy, before I introduce the other panelists, I wanted to just quickly ask you if you could tell us a little bit about your mantra, making the impossible possible. How has it changed in practice? I remember I had the fortunate opportunity to meet your father. He's an amazing man. I had him at the hotels I used to work with, and he shared with me some crazy stories. He had a client, a couple in honeymoon, that wanted to conceive a baby boy, and they had the penthouse painted blue until they actually conceived. And I mean, it was these crazy stories. He had divers under the boat to guarantee that his clients would catch the biggest fish. Is that still real? Does that kind of impossible request still happen?
Absolutely. If anything, I think it's evolved outside of travel, where we've gotten so close to our clients, so we like to be that point of contact for anything as long as it's legal, we say. So they come to us for a lot of needs, whether it's chefs, trainers, gifting, doctors, and you know, even when they're in a time of need when traveling. One of our clients' daughters was robbed in Paris recently on a Saturday, and someone took her pocketbook, which consisted of money and passport and everything that she needed. So the mother called and said, oh my God, my daughter was robbed, what do we do? We had somebody in our office's mother go meet this daughter and give her 1,000 euros just so that she could get by. We were able to we have access, and I think that that's what people want to join Fischer Travel because of our access. We were able to facilitate an 8 a.m. appointment on Monday for her to get a new passport. And this colleague's mother went with her to the police, you know, filed the report, then went to the passport office, the U.S. Embassy, to get her passport, which was ready 2 hours later. Yeah. So, you know, it's in good times and crazy times, but the requests always keep on coming in.
No, and it makes life a lot easier, right?
And it's creative, it's fun, and it's challenging, and we all share in the successes and the joys of those wins.
Amazing, amazing. Danilo Cerqueira, CEO of TempoVIP, a boutique DMC changing the way travelers experience Portugal, a benchmark in our industry in terms of technology, processes, and of course, service, passionate, proactive, charming, curious, and restlessly eager to exceed expectations. Danilo dedicated himself to becoming a film producer during the pandemic. By creating a library of the best tourism content in Portugal, he permits travel advisors to show 1-minute reels of over 400 experiences throughout Portugal. So, Danilo, you soared to the highest levels of our industry. You have been chosen as a preferred partner for most of the leading travel agencies in the country, and you are part of the Travel and Leisure A-list specialists. You have often been recognized as being instrumental in elevating luxury travel in Portuguese. How did you do it? What's your secret sauce? Tell the secret.
The secret is redesigning the way things actually work and work very well. So we're not really inventing the wheel or making skyrocket science here. We're just trying to make the whole process way more efficient and objective than what they were. And one of the things that we realized since the beginning is that most of the companies, that the DMCs, they normally have in their portfolio everything that they are able to sell. But actually, the first thing that we did was our portfolio have to reflect our market culture, what they eager, what they want. So the portfolio was assembled according to who we are selling and not what we have to sell. So once we have put that together, we realized that although everyone was looking for the off the beaten track, everyone wants to go to places where no one else were, once we put that on the proposal, no one actually wanted to buy because they didn't know where they were putting their money and their time. And they say, hey, we got to find a way to transmit and show those people, regardless of where they are and when they're looking at what we're selling, that it's really worth to go there. And that's where the video idea came. So it just allows us to put our selling argument in front of the final client, regardless of where they're looking at it, at the time zone, how many people are right there. And it just represents for the travel designer an amazing tool because they don't no longer have to assume the responsibility of sending the client here and there. The client by itself will have all the information to decide if they want to go or not. And in our side, we just have to deliver whatever we have shooted. So it's just align the whole expectation to the reality and make everyone's job much easier and make the whole process much more efficient than what it was before. In 1980s, if you had 50K to spend a trip to India, you used to have a beautiful day-by-day printed itinerary with pictures and descriptions of what you're going to spend your time and money. In 2023, you have 50K to go to India, and most of the time, you still get a PDF with pictures and descriptions of what you're going to spend your time and money. So after 40 years, a multi-billion-dollar industry didn't change much in what comes to what my client have in their hand. We're trying to find solution to that question, and that's where the whole process starts to change.
Amazing. No, fantastic. And I see Paul nodding when you're talking about development of technology. He's like, yeah, that's my field. Paul Tumpowsky, CEO of Skylark. And I love the way you describe the company, a luxury travel company that combines intuitive technology with expert travel advisors. A platform that marries ease of online booking with a white glove service and support of expert advisors. Paul, you are recognized as a leading authority in the global air travel market, a member of the Travel and Leisure A-List, Travel and Leisure Travel Advisory Board, Global Vision Award Selection Committee, and the Condé Nast Travel Specialist. Technology is part of your DNA. You have always been tech forward. You invest in technology to ensure your clients receive the best in value and that your team has the tools that they require. You also have a surprisingly young customer. Can you talk a little bit about that and how technology played a part in your success?
Technology played a part in our success because when I started the business, I really wanted to create what I describe as a hybrid travel agency where clients, when they knew what they wanted to do, could fulfill on their own at 11 o'clock at night, but when either they needed help or support or our team felt like they wanted to be able to contribute advice, they could do that. And those two things had to work together as opposed to being two separate products like with American Express or with a traditional travel agency relative to an online travel agency. And so we have invested a lot of money in technology, and what we had found along the way was younger clients gravitated to that product first for obvious reasons. The first is, as they entered into affluence, they didn't have an advisor already. We had found very early on in Skylark's history that when clients had a traditional advisor, even if they were talking to us about booking, they went back to their traditional advisors. And we recognized by simply just looking at where the business we think is going, that younger clients don't have advisors, and we should focus on building a product for what we describe as the next generation of luxury travelers. The average age of we're a virtuoso agency, a proud virtuoso agency. the average age of a Virtuoso client is over 60 years old. The average age of a Skylark client is about 42 years old. It legitimately is the next generation of luxury traveler, and our mission is to go build the products and services and work with partners around the world to deliver what we think they're going to be doing over the next 20 years.
Amazing. I love the different approach and the broadness of it. It's fantastic. You guys are going to end up talking and becoming all very close friends. Becky Hubbard, General Manager of the Lotte New York Palace, the largest luxury hotel in Manhattan. Becky's journey to leadership is one of tremendous perseverance, passion, and professionalism. With countless luxury options, the competitive nature of the hotel industry in Manhattan is always in high gear. As such, it takes a lot of energy and effort to ensure that one hotel stands out amongst the rest. The daunting responsibility of ensuring smooth sailing in turbulent water cannot be easy. And yet, you do it with a smile. I've known you, and your smile is always constant. You make it look easy. However, there's a lot of talk about burnout and the women's role in travel and in the professional world. Can you tell us how to balance it? Because at the end of the day, if somebody can share and teach us, it has to be you. Because look, how do you do it?
Well, I think that number one, I just remain ever grateful for being able to be in this position, being able to be here in New York City, and also being at the Palace for 12 years. It's just something that I think about every day, and I am in awe that I actually get to be here. So I think that that's number one. I think you both personally and professionally surround yourself with talented people, both in the industry and both in your purview. And so I think that that is very helpful as well, to have great partners to help to tell your story. And then I think of everything as really, everybody talks about being in the present moment of the day. I think about it a little bit differently, because I think that the future and the past really all connect that present moment. And I always want to have great memories from the past to bring me into this moment, right? And so what did I do? How did I help? How did I, facilitate wonderful memories for either people, myself, my family, our guests, that brought you to this present moment? And then when you're in the present moment, what are you looking forward to in the future? And how can you help people to fulfill their dreams? And how can you fulfill your own dreams by, living in that present moment? What are you looking forward to? So I think they all connect. And it really helps me to keep everything into perspective, in this wild world, in this wild city. And just taking some time to really reflect every morning. I think during the pandemic, you and I had talked about just walking back and forth to
keep
work.
Moving.
And you just keep moving, but you can do so many things while you're walking in the city. You can be on the phone, you can be enjoying the architecture, you can think about the history as you're walking by, enjoy nature, anything. And so I think that also helps you just to really center yourself.
Yeah, well, whatever you're doing, it's working, so keep doing it.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Rob Karp, CEO of MilesAhead. I had to double take on this, and I checked, a few sites, but graduate Cornell University Hotel Administration in 2019. I'm like, 2019. Is it really 2019? This is a mistake here. Rob was named Travel and Leisure's Rising Star in 2017 and finalist in Virtuoso's Rising Star Award in 2019. You opened MilesAhead at 14 to help travelers optimize their frequent flyer miles. Today, MilesAhead manages over $15 million of travel for high net worth individuals, families, and executive team. You're an early riser, clearly, adventure seeker, and self-proclaimed aviation geek. Your knowledge and insights have been featured in various media outlets, including the New York Times, Fortune, Forbes, Point Sky, and the New York Post. So you're on the cusp of the millennial and the Gen Zs, right? But funny enough, your average customer is slightly older than Paul's, right? You mentioned they're around 50 years old or so.
Yeah, we have I guess we have a sweet spot of working with people my parents' age. Over the years, we've connected well with families that have kids that are similar age to where I was in that stage of the business. So most of our clients are between 50 and 70. That's where they sit.
Amazing. No, it's amazing. And it's funny because obviously I know that you get asked a lot about the Gen Zs. I've seen a lot of interviews. And you say, well, that's not my only client, right? You also have them. But I think that's something you mentioned. So it's very interesting. And also in an interview that you had with Cruise Line International Association about the millennials and attracting new generations to our industry, you mentioned that one of your goals is to be a place where new agents looking for a great experience want to join. How do you see the IC model, and is that still your goal? You're aiming to keep growing it?
So we celebrated our 10-year anniversary last November, and you tell a little bit about our story, which I appreciate. Things have changed dramatically, even past 5 years coming out of COVID. We are still trying to be a place that can breed great talent and be a place that people really want to work in this industry. But we're shying much more to the in-house model versus the IC model. You know, we sort of have learned that if you outsource, right, you only have so much sort of control. It's also harder to give people like a career path, so to speak. So actually, I was up at Cornell last week with our team, and we were at the career fair. It's the second time we've done that, going and meeting with students and looking for interns and actually some full-time people as well. So I think the goal remains the same. We want to be a great place to work because the goal is to scale the business, and the only way I believe you could scale this business is with people. So it needs to be a place where people want to be there.
Fantastic. Well, when you talk about the benchmark and the pioneer, definitely the pioneer of the membership model, there's Fischer Travel, right? Your father really started this membership model and has taken it along with your support to the sky is the limit. And yet, I believe the three agencies have more of an in-house model, right? You're looking at the industry as a whole, and there's a massive movement towards this IC model. Stacy, how do you see this IC movement, and why did you choose not to bring it in-house, right? Because you also are more of an in-house. So just continuing on from what Rob was talking about, what do you believe about the IC? Because it's growing.
I do agree with you about the control, and I think that we're all about staying in our lane. And we're definitely, I think, one of the few that have had a membership model in place for the past 30 years, starting at $5,000 to join, and just upped it in September to $150. So that's just to utilize our services. And then there's annual fees, and then we are a service fee-based business, so there's service fee for these clients to want to pay that because we can deliver and because we really, really get to know them. And I think during COVID was a very interesting time because we're not transactional. We're never about just being an order taker, picking up the phone and doing what they say. We're all about collaboration and meeting them where they needed to be met. So was that, camps and, transforming tennis courts into ice skating rinks and outside parties. And more than that, forest bathing in Central Park because people needed to just have that sense of place in Manhattan where, we're in a concrete jungle. And I lived in New York throughout COVID, so I knew how important it was to just get on the phone with people and say, how are you? And also, people chose, some people, not to renew when their renewal was up, which is $25,000. And I completely understood. And we said, you know what? Let's pause your membership. When you're ready to travel and when you feel comfortable about getting back out in the world, let us know. We'll be here for you. And everyone's come back. And, last year was 7 new clients. This year we already have 4.
Wow.
And we're actually, on the phone vetting clients all the time. But we're in a great position because it's not about the volume for us like ICs. It's about finding the right client that meets our needs too. And someone that's like-minded, appreciates the service, the creativity, and the level of care.
Yeah, it's
and
a
being
long-term
available
relationship.
24/7 with a direct team that knows exactly where you are, how to get you out of a situation. And we're very transparent about our service fees in advance, so people really, and it's not all about taking the people that have the most money. A lot of time people are just like, I don't want to spend that, or try to negotiate, and we say this is our business model, we respect that. And you'll find other wonderful travel advisors out there because we're not doing anything that other people couldn't do.
Sure. No, and that long-term relationship that you have with them it makes all the difference. So Danilo, you design travel for many of the most demanding travel designers, right? How are they different, and what's the key to actually building that loyalty and closing? Because you have the travel advisors having the discerning clients, and they pass it to you, and you're actually designing it for the designer, which cannot be easy.
Yeah, it becomes kind of easy when you have very clear the answer for one question: what am I bringing to the table? How can I add value to the travel designer business and to the final client experience? What are we doing that actually can result on the travel designer want to drive business to my company? Okay, and we realize that first we are as valuable as our efficiency to match the portfolio and every product that we have to that client-specific need. So once more, it's all about the clients, not about ourselves. So even the same clients have different travel profile, because if you have a couple traveling for anniversary, the same couple traveling with a family with 2 kids will have we want a completely different kind of travel. So, and all of these magic happen when we join forces and when we create an equation when the knowledge and expertise of the travel advisor plus our knowledge and expertise about the destination comes out with something incredible. So when we have this equation and when the whole structure is targeting to get a great result on this equation, it gets kind of easy. I mean, put the equation together is the hard part, but once it's settled, it really become kind of easy. Then once we have it done, I mean, once we did the whole itinerary is settled, there's another thing that's very important. Which are the tools that we can provide for the travel advisor so he can have a hassle-free sales process with the client and optimize their time and the client's time and give the client the confidence to book in the shortest amount of time possible. It means they're going to make more money in a short time. It means efficiency. And that's when not only the videos, but also our itinerary builder play a big role. And that was something that we were able to develop also during the pandemic. So there was a lot of bad things, but also we took a lot of advantage of this time, and we actually have redesigned the whole client journey to make the same thing in a much more efficient way.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And you've been with us traveling around the world, and I've seen other phenomenal DMCs look at your platform, and I can just see their jaw dropping, like, who? And I remember I had an amazing colleague of ours say, who the hell is this guy? Like, where did you get him from? So no, it's amazing. So Paul, living in a digital space where we are more remote than ever, the importance of personal relationship could not be more vital, right? How do you connect? So you have a team that's all over the world. You have a client that is more digital savvy and maybe not as personal and present. How do you make that connection? Because you're similar in this home long-term relationship, but that digital part changes things. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
The goal of the digital part of our business is to, and I'm going to paraphrase Matthew Upchurch and probably bastardize this, but the idea behind what we're trying to achieve with the technology is to automate the repeatable so that we can humanize the exceptional. And so the goal, the way that sort of gets implemented on a day-to-day basis is we are trying to reduce the administration on both the client and my team's front so that the actual time they're spending is on listening, researching, and giving advice. Now, in the digital space we live in today, it's actually made our lives a little bit easier, quite frankly. My advisor team is spread out across the world on different time zones. That actually shows up that if you are chatting with us on our website or call us at 212-SKYLARK around the clock, someone is actually answering. That is a real virtuoso advisor that works for my team. It allows us to have the digital platforms that we're on, allows anyone with their laptop and the appropriate security to help run the business from anywhere in the world. And it empowers our people to be able to spend time away from home, live in different places around the world, go on FAMs to be able to experience these products and services themselves and still work for the business. And so we, as a result, have the ability to encourage them to go do these types of things when they're available to do it, and have it not actually impact how to run the business.
Sure.
So the technology is helping us in those very direct ways. And quite simply, maybe it goes without saying to this group, but the luxury leisure travel market has trailed by far
Yeah.
the rest of the world in terms of technology, and also the general travel market. And so the fact that we are trying to make an effort and spending millions of dollars without those types of membership fees, I should add, in this technology platform, we're doing that specifically because we know that someone's going to do this.
Right.
Someone's going to build this product at some point. Our hope is that it's us and we'll be able to succeed in doing that, but someone's going to figure out a way to build this hybrid model and make it work, because I think one of the reasons why the IC model has its limits in terms of what each independent contractor can do is they're limited by the number of hours in a day. And when you look at the way the IC businesses have grown, it's increasing the number of ICs. The people that own businesses that are trying to employ people, they're trying to figure out strategically, where do I need the right skills? Who are the right people to help me with these types of clients and grow the businesses that way? And so we also will always have a human component to the business. It's critical. But we're also trying to figure out where we can make those humans' lives easier and the consumer's life easier by adding technology into the mix.
It's amazing, and it seems so logical to bring the technology into our industry, and yet it's so hard to do, right? It is historically a very traditional, luxury is a very traditional space, and so it's very exciting to see Skylark moving in that direction, while next door, Fischer Travel is booming in the same way. I think there's space for everybody. It's exciting to see how technology, in a way, is finally coming into play.
There's definitely space. I mean, if you just simply look at the advisor part of the travel market relative to the overall luxury leisure travel market, there's certainly room to grow. It would be a mistake for, frankly, I just sort of think about Virtuoso in general. If Virtuoso advisors are fighting amongst themselves over clients, that is a mistake, because there are far more clients out there that are not clients of any agency that are probably much more susceptible to be able to receive advice, service, support, and the value proposition, as long as they could be educated about it. And so we've always used that as a mantra, that we're going to try and focus on younger, affluent clients that don't have an advisor, but there are all sorts of ways to grow your business without having to compete with people that are in our network.
Couldn't agree more. Becky, we are on top of the world, literally. This is one of the most exclusive addresses on our planet, for sure. Is the affluent traveler the same as the pre-pandemic years? Are they more conscious? Is there a difference?
Yeah, well, I think, as you heard from the panel, right? That's where hoteliers have to have their ear to the ground at all times, right? They are providing a space where every single individual and individual need is coming and embarking on the palace at this time, right? And so it's our job to figure out, what can we do to really create a curated experience for people, and for people with all different preferences, right? So if someone likes the technology and to use that and to call it any time of night, then we have to really make sure that our business is adhering to that. Or if you are, if it's more high touch, then we can make sure that we are there for you in a very personal way, and really to make sure that we are looking at individual needs on a case-by-case basis and a client-by-client basis. And I think that that's the most important thing. There are so many, there's so much information that's coming at the affluent traveler, through television, social media, word of mouth. It's everywhere. You have so much to choose from. And it's our job to figure out what path do you want to take in your travel experience. And so I think that that's something that we really enjoy doing here at the Palace, is to give you access to things that maybe you didn't think you could have access to. But also, if you want to participate in every single thing in a city that has to offer, if you want to go to a show, to dinner, to meet people, to be out there, then you can have that access. But also the other choice being that if you want to sit back and take a view of the world,
Oh.
while you're just
And
sitting
what a
here,
view.
and maybe not participate, but just look. And then you have to be able to give that traveler that choice as well. And I think that, having that digital access and really high tech, leading to high touch is going to be the future of our industry.
It has to be.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have to.
for sure.
Yeah,
For
we
sure.
have
And
to be able to decipher that.
For sure. And it's the combination of all this working together that makes the magic happen, right? Rob, I have a question. It seems to me that airlines are giving less, and miles and points are worth less as we move forward. And I might be wrong, and Paul, please jump in here as well. Do you agree? And what do you see, and how do you see the future of the point system? Because I know that's what started you in your business, and I know that you're also an airline guru, so.
Still a lot of fun. Just doesn't necessarily make you money, we've been in an inflationary market. So during the pandemic, when people couldn't spend their miles or weren't traveling the same way, they still spent money on their credit cards. And the credit card companies really wanted to capture spend. So if you look at Chase and Amex and Citi, they really wanted to capture the premium customer. So what did they do? Is they basically flooded a bunch of miles into the system. Now, if you look at the airline industry, we still have a supply issue. So you have more miles than you've ever had. You have fewer seats than you've ever had. So what's going to happen? Fewer seats to grab those great Saver Award tickets, or it's going to be more miles for the same seat. So what is interesting, though, is, and I'm no financial expert, so I don't know if we're going to hit this recession if we're in one, but in the years following 2008, those were the golden years of getting mileage tickets because people weren't paying for seats or in the same way, and miles were going further. But as Paul can well tell you, we're in a market right now where airfares are really expensive. I was at a JP Morgan conference yesterday listening to Ed Bastian talk. Interestingly enough, Delta had their 10 biggest sales days of their company's history in the past 30 days.
Wow.
And that's not driven by volume, it's driven by average ticket price.
Paul?
Rob states the economics correctly. I think that there's been outside of traditional inflation, which is taking place, there's been massive mileage inflation taking place over the last half a decade for a variety of reasons. And we have clients who are very smart people, financially very savvy, and at times they're basically asking us to do things which are the equivalent of lighting their miles on fire in order to spend them because they sit on their personal mental balance sheet and they feel like they have to sort of divorce themselves from them or use them or spend them or purge them. And so that also is making sure that the other side of the market is working. People are buying tickets at these prices for actually paid seats, and people are buying tickets at these mileage prices too at any given day, which makes sure that even that separate supply and demand curve are aligned. But the trend that we are also seeing, though, is that even American Airlines is about to make a very big switch in their program, which is they used to have super savers, and the maps of the world were aligned around points. They're going to move more towards a model which is more aligned with JetBlue, which is you see a price, you can convert that directly to miles and back and forth to dollars. And I think there's a simplicity around that, but it also removes some of the savings that's been involved with some of these programs.
Love the savings.
Yeah, I think that if you're looking for savings in the airlines industry, this is not the year for it.
Well, actually, I don't think it's a year for savings in travel. It's price.
I think you may see some savings on the hotel side of the business come the second half of the year. I think that there's a massive amount of supply out there that wasn't there pre-COVID. I mean, we can think about virtually every major hotel brand has launched 20% more hotels into the pipeline over the last several years, with more coming. And there aren't 20% more travelers. They may travel more, but in order to get people to these farther corners of the world, the math that's playing out and physically what's playing out within the air business, which I think drives luxury travel, is there's just not enough business class seats. There physically aren't enough business class seats relative to the flights. And you can see this because business class is full on a lot of flights several weeks out. But if you actually look at economy, there's still plenty of seats open. So one of two things are going to happen. Either people will not fly because of that, or they will go, you'll start to see the idea of buying multiple seats for yourself, et cetera, come back into the market, because that's going to be the only way to get to these places and encourage that type of travel.
Wow. I could clearly stay talking here for hours because I didn't get enough chance to hear from each one of you, but it's always an immense, immense pleasure. I can't thank you enough for coming personally here, finding times in your schedules. This is New York City. It's always busy, and having you here physically means the world to me. To those watching, thank you so much for watching. Your support is enormous. Please tune back in. TL Talks. Our goal is to be your insight within the luxury travel. Thank you so, so much. Stay tuned. There's more content to come. And thank you again for being here and for always being available and supportive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Okay.